David Campese, it's a real pleasure to be speaking with you today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for making time for us.
No problem.
David, I thought I'd just start a little bit about your extraordinary career, which I watched on my TV screen. I was in England at the time, and I remember...
And you supported England?
Well, I was one of those dangerous people who didn't, and I used to secretly cheer for... Because particularly, you guys never could lose. You never lost. I remember from the rugby to the cricket, the World Cup, where I remember you pulled it off against South Africa. I love that sort of strength, that mental strength. By the way, how did Australia develop it? And
I don't know. I just think that if you look about the 70s and 80s, when I grew up, sport was big. I mean, that kept a lot of things going. Australia was still very young.
Were you from a big city?
No. I'm from a little town called Queanbeyan. It's just outside Canberra.
Yes.
Another good mate of mine, Mark Webber, is from the same town. So, no, it was just, I think there's something in the water.
Yeah.
Back in those days. But I came from a small town. My dad was Italian, had no idea about sport.
Right.
Had his garden in the backyard, had his wine and all that.
When did the family come from Italy then?
My dad came out from Italy, I think in the 50s.
Yes.
When he was 30, I think it was 1952, I think it was. My mum was, she was a Murphy from Ireland back in those days, but she was born in Australia. And we had I've got an elder brother, two younger sisters. So growing up in those days was, it was good. I mean, it was free, it was great. You can roam the streets, play cricket, do rugby league. And
it must feel totally different to today. I mean,
it's bizarre. It's bizarre. We just thought that the world's gone crazy. It's just that now you can't go out in the streets because you don't know where the kids are going to be, the drivers. So it has changed the environment. But I think we grew up in the best sort of era because when we played, we did it for nothing. It was a passion.
Yes.
And when you do things for passion, you want to be good. Now, look, the game had to go professional. It has, but a lot of things have changed in Australia with the government funding of sports. We had the old sports minister, Mr. Brown, who we've known for years and years, and he said, a couple of years, just wait, just watch Australian sports. And if you look at the Olympics this year, a lot of the Australians got to the finals and they just couldn't handle it. Where in the past, no problem. You knew if we made the final, we were going to win.
Yes.
Susie O'Neill, Ian Thorpe, you had all those guys.
You'd always imagine that, right? Oh, it's the Australians, that's it.
But I think now also, professionals brought something new to sports, and it's about you come on, you've given everything. So you don't really have to work as hard as like we had to in our days, because you had to go to work, you came home, you have to go and buy your boots, you got to do this and all that. Now, a professional, it's all given. They're given iPads, they're given this, and so I just think sometimes maybe if you go back to some of the olden days, things might change a bit.
Yes.
But unfortunately, this is 2016, so you just got to go for times.
So let's talk a little bit about how you sort of burst on the scene. I mean, you've come out of this small town. I read somewhere you were not a rugby player. You were a golfer or something.
Yeah, I played. I lived 100 metres from a golf course. In New South Wales country in those days, rugby league was the major sports.
Yes.
And so I played rugby league from under 8 to 16. I represented the ACT in every representative league team. A couple of years of Aussie rules, won a golf championship at 15. Played a bit of rugby. And what changed?
Was it very natural for you? I mean,
it was. Yeah, it was hard work. It was like fun, but you learn,
Yeah.
And what happens in life, you don't really know what you want to do until about 15, 16. And I teach my kids, I said, play whatever you want.
Yeah.
One day you'll decide. If you stick to one sport and you don't like it, there's nothing to go back on. So what really helped me as well, my dads didn't know anything about sports, so I would go off on a Saturday or a Sunday, play rugby league, and my parents would never watch. So there was never any criticism. How'd you go? They'd say, we haven't won. Okay, that's good, So I think that really helped me growing up. 16 played a rugby league grand final, we lost. And I just thought, well, I don't want to be blamed for things, So that year, the year after 79, I went over to watch the 4th grade Queanbeyan Whites. And they played, and after the game I said, do you need a fullback? And I said, yep. So I started.
That's how your
That was 79, played 4th grade, yeah.
My goodness.
It was my best year of rugby, because I had all the old guys who'd been there, done that.
Yes.
And I'm like 17, 18, playing, and they just said, next time, try this, try that. And people were very helpful. Now, I think that's really helped
You're describing something that feels as if it's another era, doesn't it?
Well, it was.
Yeah, today you'd probably have people coming and speaking to your parents about how they were going to do deals with you, and
Yeah.
so okay, so you've done that. Describe to us how you broke onto the international scene.
Well, obviously playing in New South Wales country near the ACT, we played in the ACT competition. So I played 4th grade 79, 1980 played 1st grade. I played for the ACT under 21s, played for the ACT, and then 1981 played for the Australian under 21s, I think it was.
Yes.
Went for the Wallaby trials in 1982.
That was the first time.
Yeah, I went for the trials. 81. They went a possibles probable game in Sydney, where they were going off to the UK to do the Grand Slam. So that was my first sort of exposure at that level. Bob Dwyer was the coach. He came in 82, and obviously he'd heard about me. So the first thing he did, he stuck me on the wing when I was a fullback. So I wasn't very happy, but
you had to do it.
You just do what you have to do. You know? So off I went. First tour of New Zealand, and it was pretty tough. You know, I mean, I played New Zealand 29 times in my career and won 8.
Wow.
So it's not a great record.
No, but against New Zealand, that's a pretty strong record.
But at the time, they were the best.
Yes.
Because South Africa weren't involved. England rugby, it wasn't great, and we played them week in, week out. So that's how we learned to become a great team, by playing the best week in, week out.
And I remember you from like 1984. I think you came
Grand
to the
Slam,
UK and you got your Grand Slam, and I think 1985 was another big year as well.
Yeah.
So would you say that was like the sort of peak of your career? Or?
Well, I suppose I've been there such a long time. 82 I started, I finished in 96.
Yes.
So we had the Grand Slam 84. At that end of that season, I went to Italy for 10 years, playing rugby 6 months and 6 months in Australia.
Yes.
Then we had 86 was the Bledisloe Cup, which the last time we beat New Zealand at Eden Park was in 1986. We just had a reunion a couple of weeks ago. 87, first Rugby World Cup.
Wow.
So it all happened very quickly.
Yes.
And things were moving along. So 88 we went back to Europe.
Did you ever think, I've just come out of, did you ever think how much had happened to you in such a short space of time? Or
I just went with the flow.
Yeah.
You know, as you get on the bandwagon, you're saying off you go.
Yes.
You know, and people said, do you want to go to Italy? I'll go.
Yeah.
I want to go to South Africa. I went in 1985, went to South Africa to play a sevens tournament. I'll go.
Yes.
The Australian government said not to go, and I said, well, I'm a sportsman. So wherever I got the opportunity, I went. And I think that really helped me as a person as well. Like living in Italy 10 years by myself, and I remember my dress sense wasn't fantastic. You know, you come from a small town, tracksuits with the thing, and I'd walk down the streets. And in Italy, when the Italians, unbelievably, like as you are dressed now, everything. So one year I was there and I bought a nice cashmere jacket.
Yes.
And I walked straight past my president of the club. He didn't recognise me, so I actually looked like I was pretty presentable. But you learn things in life,
Yeah.
And that's, I never thought as a grown up in a small country town, going to a public school that one day, like I'll be in Kenya now.
Yes.
You never know.
Yeah. Played at the top of
exactly, but what helped me was I wanted to do it.
Yes.
I always sat in the front of the bus on a rugby tour.
Did you?
I always wanted to see where I was going.
Wow.
And it was pretty scary up there because all the forwards are at the back.
Yes.
So the backs are here. So I just wanted to enjoy and experience what the world's about.
There's so many famous quotations about you. The one I was repeating to you about, saying that you could sidestep out of a sealed paper bag. You had your very famous shuffle.
Yeah.
Were those natural? Did they just come, or did you sort of coach yourself into that kind of thing? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, look, it's quite interesting now because if I look back, it's playing rugby league. You're a pretty small guy against a big guy, so you've got to learn how to get around these guys. So the sidestep, all that sort of happened, and you kept on trying different things. Watching on TV, there was a guy called Michael O'Connor who played just before me. Yes. I played against him. And I saw him do something in a test match one day, and I got, I'll try that.
Yeah.
And that's how you learn, like a cricketer. You go and watch a cricketer, and during the Ashes back in the 70s and that, in lunch or tea break, you go and do what they did.
Yes.
That's how you learn, because that's all we had. Now there's obviously television, there's the YouTube and all that, but that's how we learn. So I think I was just lucky that I just really just went out there and tried different things. Yes, some worked, some didn't. And when they worked, they were fantastic, and if they didn't, you're in trouble.
And when you look back, I mean, what defines a great team in your opinion? You know, if you look back at those great successful teams, you know, we've seen them in life in different places. What is the secret, magic ingredient of what works, especially in rugby when you've got so many?
Yeah, look, I just think leadership.
Yeah. So there's got to be a captain, has there?
Well, look, yes, a captain, but you've got to have more than a captain. You've got to have leaders. So, like, I thought that towards the end of my career, I was a leader. I was an older player on the wing.
Yes.
But if I did something good, hopefully it inspired the young guys. World Cup 91 team, we had probably, if you pick the world's best 15 that year, we probably had 9 or 10 players.
Wow.
Like if we had Field Kearns, we had Daly McKenzie, we had John Eales was a leader, Nick Farr-Jones was a leader, Michael Lynagh was a leader, Tim Horan was a leader.
Yes.
So that's what you don't rely on one person to do the work. You actually take the responsibility on. And the teams that seem to do well, like the All Blacks now, they've all got good leaders.
Yeah.
Even though they've got a captain, Kieran Reid,
Yes.
but everyone's got their job to do and they do it. You know, it's like in a business. If you've got a CEO that's really good and the rest underneath aren't pulling their weight, well, obviously something's going to change.
Yeah.
Coaches are vital to give you the opportunities, but also allow you to express yourself.
Yes.
Coaches now these days seem to inhibit players from being who they really are.
Yes.
Because it's in the structure.
You think it's too structured?
I think it is very structured.
Yeah.
We played very, very different style. 84 Grand Slam, Alan Jones was our coach. We played 18 games, I think it was, over like 8-9 weeks. We played every Saturday, Wednesday. Every training session we trained was doing the simple, basic drill. Get tackled, hold the ball, feed over, place it. That's all we did. And that's such a simple thing.
Yes.
But because of the conditions in Europe and that's how they played, the ball was vital. You can't play the game without the ball.
Yeah.
So we had the great backline. We had Nick Farr-Jones playing first, second, Mark Ella, Michael Lynagh, Andrew Slack, Roger Gould. We had the greats.
What a team.
So it was really control the ball. And that's all we did. And Alan Jones knew we had the backline. So that it does help when you've got somebody who knows how to actually work the team. You know, we had great forward pack, young guys, and we all fitted in, and the older guys looked after the young guys. And that's what a team is. A team is not one player.
No.
You know, and now it's more important that the bench is part of the team.
Yes.
You know, the World Cup last year in the final, Australia lost that because the Kiwi bench.
Yes.
You know, you had Messam coming on, and you had Sonny Bill Williams.
Because they won it in the last
Yes, the last
yes.
20 sort of minutes.
That's when they really ran strong.
That's how the game's changed now. So, yeah. So it is vital that you have great players, but you've got to have the rest of the players part of being a leader as well, not just waiting for someone else to do the work.
And as an individual, surely you had an intrinsic talent, right? You can't make someone talented who hasn't got it. Is that right as well?
Yeah, I think, you know, I trained very hard at it as well.
Yes,
you know,
you
didn't
did.
come easy.
You were committed.
Oh, well, I never came easy. You know, I was always the hardest trainer.
Yeah.
But that's what I love to do it. I didn't because I had to do it. I wanted to do it. And you know, traveling the world, living in Italy. In Italy, I played number 10 in a team, so I knew as a winger now exactly how a number 10 would think. I could kick right foot, left foot, pass, sidestep, swerve, goose-step, the work. So, but I wanted to do that. You know, if I was playing now, people say I wouldn't make it. I don't think it'd be that difficult.
Who said that?
Well, I mean, you know, like George Gregan's, that say, look, it's a different era. But if you look at the way the game's played, all you got to do is think, you know, and just be in the right position. You know, read the game, and that's where knowledge is important in life. You know, so my knowledge is pretty good. Playing number 10, playing on the wing, playing fullback, different countries. So that's you've got so much built up. So when you play, you know what to look for in certain aspects of the game. But as I said, you know, marking Rory Underwood for the first time, Rory was very good at the in and out swerve.
Yes. He ran quite straight.
He did, but
within that he was.
Yes, but he had the gas to run on the outside.
Yes.
Where I had a sidestep, a swerve, the goose step, I could kick, I could pass.
Yes.
I had 5 things that he had to watch me.
Yes.
So if I knew if I stood on the outside, there's no way he could go around. He had to come inside.
Yes.
So you know, you stop their advances by knowing what their talent is, or their strength, and you stop that.
Yeah.
Where on the other hand, I had 4 or 5 things that he had to watch.
Yes.
So what am I going to do now? I'm going to go that way, that way. That's what you got to do. You got to keep the opposition guessing.
That's good advice in life in general, I suppose.
It is, yeah.
So tell me another thing. Great career, all these high moments, transitioning as a sportsman, because you know you have this really early. You're young. you're hitting it big. You've become famous. Everyone wants to interview Campo, see what you've done. How did you make that adjustment? What did you adjust to?
I think what helped was that I had some partners back in the old days, and I opened up my first sports shop in, I think it was '92 in Sydney.
Yeah.
So it actually helped. Obviously.
Oh, so you had a strategy.
What sort of happened, it wasn't like, do you want to have a sports shop? Yeah, okay, let's have a sports shop. It wasn't like a strategy, right, what am I going to do? Because you don't think you're ever going to finish. You just think, I'm going to go forever. So I had to open my first sports store. So that sort of helped. Then obviously going to the schools, helping the schools and all that, sort of got the profile out there and all that. So, and rugby was at a high in the early 90s, so that really helped. My BMW was my sponsor back in those days. So it all sort of came together.
Yes.
So then I ended up with 4 sports shops
in Australia.
in Australia, yeah. So it sort of didn't really affect me as much as like, okay, you're not getting a contract anymore, you finish. And the guy go, okay, what do I do? You know, and there's been a lot of incidents in Australia where guys have actually been lost. They don't know what to do. You know, unfortunately, a couple have tried suicide because all of a sudden there's someone, they rock up the airport, the manager's got their passport, now they've got to book their own ticket. How do I do that? Because it's been looked after for the last 15 years, you know.
Yes.
So those sort of things do creep in. And as you're saying, like the young guys these days don't want to have a job, they want to play rugby. But when you finish is the problem. Because then you've got to say, well, what talent you've got? Well, I haven't got a talent. I was a rugby player. I've got money. So I think it helped. But also, we played in that era where I played 96 was professional. I retired after 96. I was like the ambassador for the ARU for 2 years. I played the Commonwealth Games Sevens in '98, and I retired in '99. So I was still playing club rugby. But then I think you just know enough's enough, you know. So I was fortunate I had all these other opportunities, and so I didn't really miss it. I just said one day, it's raining, okay, I've retired, that's it. No radio, TV crying, and I just said, I don't want to play today, so that was it, you know. So it helps, you know. That's why, if for example I was coming into a team now, and a professional team, you know, because if you think about it, they train 5 days a week, and yet they still on the weekend, they still seem to not have, they drop a ball, they don't care. Or why aren't they the best players in the world when you've got all this time? So what I would do is say, okay, right guys, go and get a job. We've got all these sponsors. Rob Andrews tried this many years ago at Newcastle. And he said, right, go and get a job in the morning. We've got sponsors, what do you want to be, a lawyer? Okay, we've got a law firm. He said, they'll take you on. They won't pay you, but you go into work from 9 to 12. So when you're finished in 3 years' time and you've got a degree, they go, actually, we'd like to employ you, very good. So afterwards you got something. Instead of just saying...
So that was quite clever of
It was good, yeah. So I would still do that. Because what else do the players do? You know, I'd like to know what they do. They're always touring, which is understandable. But, you know, some of them get married very young. Yes, the money's good, but when you retire, that's a whole new story. I don't think we've really approached that properly.
So you had these sports shops, and then how did you get to Durban?
That's very interesting. In 1996, I think it was, I was playing for New South Wales still. It's the first year of professionalism, and went to Durban. We're doing a gym session, and I was doing a very interesting exercise. And there's 2 young girls behind me that started to laugh at me, and I thought, well, what are you laughing at? And so, strange how you meet. So afterwards, so going to the game, yeah. So we met up after the game, sort of kept contact for a while, going to Australia, she lives in South Africa, and you lose contact for a year. And I came back, I think the year after, same hotel, and I said to the lady at the hotel, I said, do you know Lara Benkenstein, who's my wife now? And they've gone, yes. I said, you used to let her know I'm in town, and she, we came and had dinner and all that again, so met, lost contact again. Yeah, 1999, I was on tour in South Africa speaking. So I was in Cape Town, went to Port Elizabeth, and at the airports, about to get on a plane, and Lara's on the same flight. So we crossed paths a few times, and then 2000 Olympics, she came out and got married, and
Congratulations.
So it all, thank you. It sort of worked.
So you didn't have to try very hard.
No, well, I did try hard for many years, but the harder you try, the worse it was.
Really?
And you know, I'd been on too many rugby tours. I saw what happens on rugby tours, and I was still playing. You're always travelling, so I said, well, I'll wait until I retire because it's really unfair, you know, what happens on these tours and all that. So then in 2003 we got married in George, South Africa, went to Rosnungi, which is down near Stonetown.
Yes.
And then lived in Australia. Our first child, 2004. Lara wanted her parents to see our first child. We came back to Durban.
Yeah.
I was the skills coach for the Sharks for 2 years,
were you? Okay.
6 and 7.
Were those good years for the Sharks?
The 2005, the Sharks finished last. 2006, we finished third. 2007, first.
Wow.
So we had Dick Muir as a coach. I was the skills coach. I'm not saying I did, but we had a great team. So then they sacked me, as they do as foreigners in South Africa. 2009, back to Australia. Had a sports shop out there still going. Closed that down, not great times. And 2011, back to South Africa. So yeah, back and forth.
And now what do you do, David? Because you're here, what are you doing here in Nairobi?
Well, obviously the Australian High Commission sort of approached me just before the Olympics, and they wanted me to sort of come out and sort of help farewell the Kenyan national team, the Sevens. But obviously things didn't really work out, and so I'm out here now. So I looked, Tuesday I came and helped the women's team.
Yes, I saw that.
The men's team. And then we had a cocktail party last night at the Australian High Commission. And yesterday I did some coaching for some coaches.
Yes.
And we had some little boys and girls and women and I think 16, 17-year-old boys. So the coaches I coached, then they turned around and I said, you got to go and coach the kids now so I can see what you've learnt.
Yes.
And I said the most important thing is that you've got to have fun with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and I said that, you know, as a player, you know, you play better if you enjoy what you're doing. If you don't enjoy it, don't play it.
No.
It's like a job. If you don't enjoy it, go and get another job.
Yeah. So you're saying passion is
passion,
first.
well, that's why I'm here. I still love it. I still coach. So we went to Slumtown on, I think it was Tuesday afternoon. Quite interesting to see you know, some of the different aspects of Kenya. And yes, on yesterday afternoon went to the giraffe.
So I saw that. Yes. Did you get
Obviously
kissed by the giraffe?
No. My 5-year-old was very unhappy with me about she's at school and I'm doing all these beautiful things.
Yes. You'll have to bring them back.
No, I will. I will bring them back. And so this morning was just riding around and having a look around things. Tomorrow's coaching the underprivileged. Going to watch some of the games tomorrow. Then there's a big dinner tomorrow night.
At
so
Mondi's,
it's been pretty hectic, but I mean I'm here to help. And obviously I'm looking forward to sort of trying to come back and help the Kenyan coaches and players because that's what my passion is. And I'm only 3 hours away.
No, exactly.
So,
yeah. And we've done quite well with the sevens.
You've done very well.
I think the question is how to get that into the sort of
15s.
Yeah,
but I mean, you see, so it's very hard, wouldn't you know? Because if you look at Kenya, I mean, I did play against Kenya in Hong Kong in 1983 as well.
Yes.
The sevens. So sevens has been around a long time.
Yes.
But now, since the introduction of the HSB Sevens World Series, IRB, you know, the more exposure it is, you know. So you guys are on the world scene all the time.
Yeah.
So that really helps. You won Singapore this year, which was fantastic. But now you've got to go that next level. Now, how do you go to the next level if you still haven't got the grassroots coming through? Yes. You know, it's like any business. You can't build a house from the roof down. Yeah. You've got to go down up. That's right. So at the Australian High Commission last night, they had a couple of the chair people of Kenyan Rugby, and we talked about how to sort of get that next phase going, you know. Obviously promotion, you need sponsors, you need a bit of a format, you need people to come in and start at the school level. Use some of the players now. The Kenyan captain from Sevens said, right, part of your role now is when you're not playing, go around to the schools, promote Sevens. That's how you get people interested, you know, and they can go and touch the captain. Yes. Or they've seen him on TV. That's how they get interested, you know. So just little things like that. So if they can start to build, you know, you never know. The world is anyone's oyster. You know, you can, if you want to be up there, well, you can get up there, but you can't wait for someone else to do it for you. You've got to give them some opportunities. You know, if we can do some rugby clinics, get some of the young coaches, we coach them, get the players, kids to come in, so they're actually moving up that level. Because it's good to do one level, but if you've got international coaches coming in, you know, they look at things a bit differently. Yes. And all I coached yesterday were just very, very simple basic skills, because you can't do the simple things, you can't do the hard things.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
What's your advice to, we have so many young sportsmen here who are all, I bet you've met a lot of them in the last few days. What would you tell these people?
Look, I just think it's just follow your dreams,
Yes.
When we went to the slums as well, the underprivileged, and a lot of them are musicians now, and I spoke and I said, things aren't easy for some people in the world, and these poor kids, they're not really well off. Around the world, a lot of people, I said, you guys are lucky, you've got someone who cares about you. Just follow what you want to do. You never know where you're going to be, but if you stop trying, you've given up.
Never stop trying.
So it's really about, my background, being Italian, not finishing school, ending up in a private school or public school sport, which is very unheard of. Even now, they're all basically private schoolboys. And I'm probably more passionate now than I was back then, because I've played the game. I've been around the world. I can see how the game now has been. Why has the referee got so much power? People don't pay money to see a referee. They come to watch the two teams, but the referee seems to take over. So I don't say to the guys, look, go out there, just try things, have fun, and just go and play whatever sport possible. One day you'll decide, and just say to your parents, I really want to try something. And as I said, just never give up.
Fantastic. David, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Really a privilege.
No, it's my privilege. Thank you.